Welcome to Velvet, a 55-seat bar situated in Berlin Neukölln, an ever-changing, energetic and diverse neighborhood of the German capital. At Velvet, we have dedicated ourselves to turning the nature surrounding Berlin into cocktails. And in order to deliver this seasonality to our guests, we change our drinks list every Wednesday. I'm Ruben, and I've worked at Velvet ever since its opening in April 2017. In recent years, you really could see how the Berlin restaurant world has evolved. Cooking and sourcing local, working with local farmers. These restaurants are a huge inspiration to what we do at the bar. This is our team. We're a team of 5 bartenders. Only missing is our favorite barback, Chicago Mike.
In 3 words, seasonality, attention to details for our guests, and above all, hospitality.
Very conceptual, but relaxed, most of all.
What is in a season? What kind of fruits or vegetables could be turned into the drinks?
That we change the menu every week. Maybe about 70% we source our ingredients from local farmers, and the other 30% we get from our foraging tours.
I think Velvet drinks are rather elegant, slim and very focused around the plant.
It's more towards what the main ingredient needs as a support or a contrast.
It's a bar where you get to drink nature based on a weekly changing menu, because nature changes all the time, so Velvet changes its menu all the time.
Well, first comes the team. We have a great team. Quite an ensemble cast of characters, which I feel cater to everybody's needs on any given night.
Philip is the person who holds everything together, and then the rest of the team is just kind of doing everything. Everybody does all the positions. Everybody that knows how to be a host and how to do service, and everybody knows how to bartend.
I'm Philip Kaszubski. I'm the manager of the bar. Just to make sure that the machine is oiled, I would say, working behind the curtain.
I'm Ruben, I work at Velvet since the beginning, and I'm the lab guy.
So we all switch the positions, and I also take care of the photos that we need for our social media and all that.
But you don't barback, do you?
I don't barback.
Shout out to Chicago Mike, obviously. Best barbacker in the world.
What would you say about Matt's ability to carry a tray?
Matt's ability to carry a tray is special. He has a special type of carrying trays, which goes like this. Because unfortunately, he cannot move his hands further than this. So this doesn't work for him. He has to do this. Nevertheless, great worker. This is Seebuckthorn, Sanddorn in German, a late autumn fruit that bursts with oily exotic fruit flavor. It is very sour, and we use it as a citrus replacement around this time of the year.
Everything that we serve at Velvet is derived from what's available around Berlin. Picking wild ingredients is a great way to know what's available and to get to know nature around you in the process. While a lot of the plants for our drinks come from farmers, when it comes to flowers or blossoms or weirdo ingredients like pine cones, foraging really is the way to go. This video will not be a tutorial on foraging, but if you ever do go out to pick wild plants and ingredients for your drinks, always make sure to know the most common poisonous plants in your area and never put anything into your mouth before you have thoroughly identified it. The most important pillar of our weekly routine at Velvet is Lab Day. Lab Day is every Tuesday, and on Lab Day our team comes together to bring in all the plants and all the botanicals. And then, after applying a wide range of techniques, we mix the new menu from these plants every single week.
I think I like the weekly challenge that we have when we have our lab day.
It's a whole rhythm that we have here, the weekly rhythm that we start with the lab day, and then is so much interesting new ingredients that coming in.
It's always the way that I've wanted to work in other bars, having a certain structure where you do things all together as a team on a certain day in terms of preparation and planning drinks for the following week, where it's not just this mad rush before every shift, whereas here we get to do it as a team every Tuesday, and that really takes the rest of your mind off it for the rest of the week, where you're simply setting up for service and focusing on offering a great product.
When it comes to sourcing from local farmers, we are really in luck at Velvet because the guys at Markthalle 9, a local green market, they compile a list of available fruits and herbs for us every week. The biodiversity of organic farms around Berlin has grown to be truly amazing. You can have stuff like local watermelons and the like popping up. Or sometimes, like this year, real Berlin ginger. Lab Day serves the double purpose of production for the weekly menu, as well as being a jour fixe for the team. A free get-together every Tuesday. We have the luxury and privilege of working with the cocktail lab. One of our toys in this lab is our centrifuge. Centrifugation serves clarification through very fast spinning. We use the centrifuge mostly in summer, when fruits and berries are in their prime, to separate clear juice from rather dry fruit mush. Leftovers like the mush on the bucket bottom after centrifugation, we often like to upcycle. Such mush can be dried and then pulverized and then turned into a beautiful and very aromatic cruster. Here we have a strawberry cruster made from strawberry leftovers, for example. Through a year, we process between 150 and 200 individual herbs, roots, blossoms and fruits. All our favorites come back to us the next year again and again, but always only for that short period of time of being in season.
I like all of them because I learned so much through them.
Like there was this drink, meadowsweet, Meadowsweet on the menu. I think marigold.
Marigold. It's a flower that has a beautiful herbaceousness but also fruitiness to it. Sea buckthorn.
It's a sea buckthorn in English, which is very powerful, sour, fruity and juicy ingredient that brings very unique, almost like exotic fruit flavors.
Sweet Woodruff Waldmeister.
Knotweed. Actually, Japanese knotweed is not a local plant. It grows here without any problems. Actually, it grows so well that it causes a lot of problems if you don't want it to grow there anymore. And I find it quite astonishing that you just don't know about this plant because it's so delicious, and it's the flavor is a mix of green asparagus and rhubarb. I'd say it's delicious.
I really love all kinds of pine cones, like spruce, larch, pine, all those cones. Just throwing them into alcohol and seeing what happens.
Cherry blossoms.
Cherry blossoms and fig leaves. Fig leaves are phenomenal ingredient, in my opinion. I've never tasted anything really quite like it, and it's super diverse. And cherry blossoms, the same deal. It's great because it's one of the first things that gets us kicked into spring. So it's always that excitement that we're about to come into, warm weather and summer, and it's just got this beautiful aromatics to it.
Fake fucking leaves. What a legendary ingredient. An aroma just like standing right under a fig tree. The fig's fruits, they just don't grow so well around Berlin. It's just too damn cold. But the tree sure sprouts its leaves. And to be honest, they are much more exciting than the fruit. You just need that very nice fig tree owner to be kind enough and let you harvest some. We distill this aroma with our rotary evaporator. A rotovap isn't cheap, and it is hard to justify its purchase from an economic perspective. But there is no other method that so cleanly separates the essential and aromatic compounds of a plant, like our fig leaf right here, from the rest. Texture, bitterness, sugars, acids, and color are all completely cut off and removed. What you're left with is the pure essence of the plant that you put in there. Usually in here we make highly concentrated distillates, mostly of herbs, so concentrated that you can use them a bit like bitters. A perfect way of preservation. In general, preservation is where it's at when working seasonal. At Velvet, you can kind of think of the year being cut in two. You've got spring, summer and autumn, where we work with fresh produce, but then in winter we've got to rely on what we preserved in the other seasons. Yeast fermented fruit wines are one way to go about this, like this watermelon wine. When you're fermenting, you're kind of making the good microbes win the war against the bad microbes. Or kombucha brewing. Another way of using microbes to your advantage. A great way to incorporate your leftovers and turn them into an acidic mixer, which is what we do at Velvet a lot. The bulk part of preservation for winter at Velvet is done with shrubs though. Shrubs are an acidified, vinegar-fortified syrup, and the vinegar makes it so that the syrup just won't go bad beyond a certain point. Although a lot of our produce is preserved by us in the other seasons for winter, of course there are still a few ingredients that you can get fresh in winter. It usually forces you into the realm of weird within the cocktail world though, like pumpkin, horseradish, or mushrooms even. Like these white beach mushrooms. Slice them thin, spread them out to dry, and toss them into a liquid of your choice for infusion. An easy recipe of ours to reproduce is an old-fashioned twist, with a maceration of any coniferous cone. In this case we're using spruce cones. To be honest, any of the edible cones work, like pine, fir, larch and such, or Douglas fir, but they all of course taste a little different, but that's the beauty of it. You can harvest the cones when they are really young, green, juicy and easily choppable as well, and that's between May and June preferably. Such cones are always full of aromatic resin and quite a bit of vitamin C, so you will always have a little sour sensation when you bite into them. I wouldn't recommend them raw though, they're not that tasty, unless you make booze out of them. You can halve the cones and macerate them in vodka or similar. At Velvet we use corn, a German white grain spirit, and add approximately 10 chopped spruce cones per liter. Leave these to macerate in a white container for a minimum of 2 months. 6 is better. Oxidation and aging really helps these cone infusions to become smooth. The drinks at Velvet are always centered around a single seasonal plant and also named after that plant. Every other cocktail ingredient serves only to support that plant's flavor. For our spruce cone drink, we stir some of the infusion down with bourbon as a base spirit, PX sherry for sweetness, sake to stretch out the flavors, a little bit of amaro for extra complexity, and rum agricole vieux for length. A delicious wintertime old-fashioned. Pop in one of the macerated cones for garnish and you've got a very sexy looking drink. With 50 menus per year and 3.5 years of operating, quite a count of recipes has mounted in our recipe books. This continuous effort is a great learning tool for the palates of both new and old team members alike.
Well, Velvet drinks gotta have 13 ingredients at least. But they're all pre-batched, so that doesn't matter.
Generally, things come in a timely manner. It seems very well organized and effortless from behind the scenes and also from a guest perspective. Yeah, we've got some pretty cool systems in place that allow us to achieve this. And pre-batching drinks, it allows us to have quite complex drinks, at least more complex drinks than any bar I've ever worked in, with up to 12, 13 ingredients, and yet we're still able to serve them in a timely manner because you turn 12 pours into 3. It's great.
The bar is constructed in a symmetric fashion. Both mixing stations are completely mirrored. The second station comes in really handy for special events, But during normal service, a perfect symbiosis between bartender and the barback is what pulls all the weight to cater to all 55 seats at Velvet. The mixing well contains basically no spirits at all. Instead, you have a premix bottle for each of the 10 drinks of our menu. The fridge door reflects this with all our seasonal cordials, shrubs and kombuchas. Both the premix bottles and fridge bottles have to be rearranged every Wednesday with the new upcoming menu.
The feeling that we're able to give at this bar is different to any other place I've been to, and the feeling that this bar has is quite important for me, because you always feel welcome, it always feels fun, it never feels too stiff.
It's not about the drinks necessarily. It can be, it doesn't have to be. The weird flowers don't appeal to you, why would they not? But if you would like to have just, I don't know, a classic cocktail or something that's, I don't know, 90s classic, you can have it. Just ask for it and it's fine.
Most of the time it's Tier Bar, the bar of my heart.
Not too far from here, Neideck.
Neideck.
Heavy session. I would like to go to Bar Convent, because that's also very unique.
Bar Convent.
Bar Convent is of course an experience that you shouldn't miss.
Also Truffle Pig.
Truffle Pig.
Truffle Pig is great. A little bit more light-hearted, but with like a really good time, good atmosphere. Damien's great.
A new place called Kink, if you're up for a restaurant and bar experience.
Beckett's Kopf has been one of my long-time favourites.
I also like Beckett's Kopf.
The outro of this video will be evening impressions, as well as mixing session impressions of how we come up with new menu drinks at the end of every lap day. We hope to see you soon. Stay negative and please wear a mask.
Tuesday mixing sessions are great. At the end of the day, we always mix drinks, and that generally turns into a pretty good time. Yeah. You guys ready to rock? Yeah. So the only thing that I want to do to this, which you probably won't allow me to do to it, is add Sichuan bass also to it.
Ooh, I can smell.
Yeah.
Tiki.
I really like all the notes. I think it's just
It is
stretched. This is quite prominent as well. How much is in there?
Yeah, that's good. Okay, cool. Let's go again.
Früchte mit Geschmack.
It's the one thing I hate.
Because it's lingonberry crust.
That's a lingonberry cruster, and this is a little bit less of the tracal, and just a touch of Berlin.
Smell it from the crust, that's really nice.
But I'd want the cruster like the whole way around, right? So you get it with every sip, or you can have it with every sip if you want it. Because it's definitely a nice dimension to the drink. It's a boozy way.
Rest is 10 milliliters of distillate. True.
Really? You need to put a little bit more. So a tiny bit for it?
Yes, please.
I like the finger.
Opens up the flavor.
So, happy? You want to have the last version?
I want to have fun.
Yes.
You want to have one version?
So it's a full 10 milliliters.
Hey!
So we can make 50 drinks. Do you have something else you would like to say about Velvet?
It's great. You should travel from all over the world to check it out because it's very unique.
Do you think we are an overpriced tipster bar?
This is going to have a lot of editing.
Yes.